got to create a want for them and foster or contrive some sort of motivation that moves them in the right direction. The contract involves them with it. And, that's coming down. This happens all the time, again, from the consumer up to the employee. We have contracts like when somebody's not performing well, you come in, let's sit down, we're going to write a performance, I forget what you call it, like a performance improvement plan, which is a form of a contract, so, whatever, even if people don't want to look at our behavior tools program as an instructor course, there's still all those pieces of the puzzle, which are rooted in applied behavior analysis, need to be in place, because it's not enough to have the principles, and it's also not enough just to identify the behaviors. You need to get those behaviors going, which means each person needs to be equipped with these behavior tools for maximizing relationships, strengthening behavior, and correcting performance or behavior. It's all the same stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's a CEO or a president working with their vice presidents. It doesn't matter if it's a staff working with a student. You've got to be able to do corrective feedback in such a way that it's going to get positive results rather than destroy relationships.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's been your experience when people don't correct behavior? Because I feel like those who are on board with trauma informed and like, I'm on board with it, I want all that stuff, but they'll lean on that saying you should let behavior go. What's the problem with that?
The problem typically is that when people say that, it's in a very contrived prosthetic, they're creating a prosthetic environment in my mind, where you're saying in this environment, it's okay to let the behavior go. But as soon as that kid gets out, say it's a school or a classroom or a residential facility and it's a group home or a day treatment program, it doesn't matter. As soon as they get out into a Walmart or a Target or an ice cream shop and they engage in that same behavior, it's going to be a problem. When you have the best ability to teach is probably in an environment that fosters teaching, right? And you have your best ability or best chance for teaching to stick there, because it's much more contrived than a Walmart or something like that. If you can't change behavior in that type of environment, when they go out into the real world, Walmart, Target, ice cream shop, whatever, they engage in that behavior, the consequences are probably going to be much more severe. So this idea of just letting behavior go because they're traumatized is not helping the consumer or the student at all. It's actually hurting them.
That's a really solid point, brother. That's really good. This is what's important for people to understand. So, part of this teaching is like exposing them, like and shaping, we get them there, and there's just a way to do it that's not coercive. And also what will happen in the facility itself, right? What do you think by allowing this behavior goes? What kind of issues are created in that facility, in that school, that classroom,
Yeah. Can I use an anecdote here?
Yeah, please.
I was called out to a certain state to work with some really difficult individuals, and one of the guys was probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He, intellectual disability, and some other things, some other traumatizing things that occurred to him. When we couldn't keep people staffed. We couldn't staff the group home because he was very funny, he was very smart, but he was also incredibly inappropriate with some of his jokes, especially towards female staff. Right? And they were just willing to, they would have such a huge reaction to it. This is about staff managing their own behavior too when it comes to dealing with someone who's experienced trauma, right? This is a big one too. Mm-hmm. They would have such a huge reaction to it, and it would just continue to reinforce this, and he would do it all the time. And because they just kind of didn't have any plan on how to deal with it, they probably had an 80% turnover in every 30 days. They couldn't staff it, and the staff that were there were miserable, and it affected the other staff members, and it affected